My brother's wife, or should I say soon-to-be wife, because apparently they're getting married in 30 days and didn't tell anybody, well, she's really mad at us, simply because we refuse to accept my brother's lie. See, he lied to her and said he doesn't celebrate his birthday. He makes it into a whole month celebration. And the reason he lied about this, you're probably wondering, why would he lie about this? It doesn't even make sense. It's because she's into a whole month celebration and she's so happy that she found another person who's into the same thing she is. But she doesn't know their entire relationship is built on a lie. And I'm going to tell you what they had planned for the 31 days of celebration of the birthday, and I'm just going to say it right now. This girl is absolutely nuts. Let's jump into it because I have the full scoop with every single update. I need to know if I completely messed up here. My entire family is acting like I did some sort of felony, and my brother has not spoken to me in 6 days. I'm sitting in my apartment right now with 17 missed calls from Mom. I just need someone to tell me if I'm insane or if everyone else has lost their marbles. I'm 27 and my brother Joel is 31. We grew up pretty normal. Middle-class family in Ohio, parents still married, no massive trauma or weird dynamic. Joel's always been the golden child, but not in like a toxic way. More like he just naturally succeeds at everything while I have to work hard. I'm not bitter about it, not anymore. I went to therapy in college and worked through those feelings and we're actually close, or we were until last Tuesday. See, Joel started dating Adriana about 8 months ago. She's 26, works as a marketing coordinator for some startup that sells personalized vitamin subscriptions or something equally ridiculous. First time I met her was at a family barbecue in May. She seemed sweet enough, little intense maybe. She had this whole spreadsheet on her phone about optimal grilling temperatures for different cuts of meat that she kept referencing, but Joel seemed happy, so whatever. The thing about Adriana is she's really into experiences. Not in a normal way where someone's like trying a new restaurant or traveling. I mean, she documents everything like she's conducting some sort of research. She has this color-coded journal system where she rates every single day on a 17 different metric scale, including her encounters and manifestation alignment. I know this because she explained it to me in detail at my cousin's wedding in July while everybody else was dancing. She pulled out these charts and showed me how she'd rated the wedding ceremony a 7.3 out of 10 because the flower arrangement did not match the energy signature. She'd calculated this stuff based on a couple's birthday. But look, weird hobbies don't make someone a bad person. My ex collected those creepy porcelain dolls that definitely moved when you were not looking, so I'm not one to judge. Joel seemed to find her quirks endearing. Started doing this fond little smile whenever she would pull out her journals, even started participating in her morning intention circle, where they would sit across each other, cross-legged on his balcony and announce their goals to the universe, or whatever. Everything was fine until 3 weeks ago when Adriana found out Joel's birthday was coming up on September the 8th. She got this look on her face like she just discovered gold in her backyard. She literally grabbed both of his hands and said, "Oh my gosh, you're a Virgo." This explains everything about your organizational pattern. Then she started going on about how September was going to be transformational for him, and how she needed to honor his solar return properly. Now, we're not birthday people in my family. I mean, come on. We do a cake, maybe a dinner at a restaurant. Somebody usually forgets to buy a card and has to sign their name on someone else's, low-key. No fuss. Joel's never complained about it, and last year for his 30th, which arguably should have been much larger, we just did steaks at our parents' house and watched the game. He said it was perfect. So imagine my confusion when Adriana sends out this email to the family group chat with the subject line, Joel's birthday month celebration, master schedule and assignments. I thought it was a joke at first. The email had an actual PDF attachment, 12 pages long, breaking down daily activities for the entire month of September. I'm not exaggerating, 31 days of planned celebrations, each with its own theme, required participants, and suggested energy intentions. September 1st was intention-setting ceremony, where we were all supposed to gather at sunrise, to plant seeds of abundance for Joel's new year. September 2nd was gratitude circle, where each family member would share 31 things we're grateful for about Joel, one for each year. September the 3rd was memory lane Monday. We would create a scrapbook of Joel's life highlights, and it went on like this, getting progressively more elaborate for the whole month. The weekends were a nightmare. She even planned a rebirth retreat for September the 14th through the 15th, where we would all have to drive 3 hours to some meditation center and participate in, I quote, ego death exercise to shed limiting beliefs that might transfer to Joel through a familial energy cord. Yeah, the price per person was $400, not including gas or meals. But if you think that's crazy, let me tell you about September the 21st. It was designated for a past life regression workshop, because apparently understanding Joel's previous incarnations would help us appreciate his current form better. The actual birthday, though, was September the 8th. Had 17 scheduled activities starting at 4 a.m. called birthday yoga, and it went all the way until midnight. Stargazing and cosmic appreciation, and in between this was breakfast at 3 different restaurants to honor the trinity of mind, body, and spirit. Yes, this girl is crazy. A professional photography session, a visit to some sort of numerologist, lunch at a raw food place 40 minutes away, and a sound bath. Dinner at some restaurant where the chef personally blesses each dish, and a firework display that she'd somehow arranged with a company? Pyrotechnic? The estimated cost for just the day was $2,000 split amongst the attendees. But here's the thing. She'd already put deposits down on half the stuff, without asking anyone. She'd used Joel's credit cards because, according to her, investing in your own celebration is the ultimate act of self-love. She charged over $3,000 to his cards already, with another $5,000 in pending reservation. The family group chat went silent for like 6 hours after that email. Then my mother, God bless her conflict-avoidant heart, she wrote, "This is very thoughtful, Adriana. We'll do our best to attend what we can." My dad just sent a thumbs-up emoji, and my sister Nessa, who lives in Portland and definitely wasn't flying back for a month of this insanity, said she had work commitments but would try to make a video call. I didn't even respond. I figured Joel would shut this down himself. I mean, the man wore the same hoodie for 6 years until it literally fell apart. He's not a birthday month type of guy. But when I called him that night, he sounded resigned. He said Adriana was really excited and had put so much work into planning this. And could I maybe just go along with some of it? He mentioned that she's been feeling insecure about fitting into our family and saw this as her chance to prove she understood our tradition. That's when I made my first mistake. I said, "What tradition?" We barely remember birthdays exist until the day before, and he gets defensive, said I was being negative and could I not just be supportive for once? I asked if he actually wanted to do sunrise yoga and ego death exercises for his birthday. He paused for like way too long and then said Adriana thinks it would be good for him to expand his comfort zone. I should have left it there, I really should have. But I asked how he was paying for all this, and he admitted that he had to dip into his savings and was considering taking out a personal loan for the rest. Guys, a personal loan for his own birthday month that someone else planned without asking him, using his money? September 1st rolled around and I did not go to the sunrise ceremony. Neither did anyone else except my mother, who texted the group chat a selfie of her and Adriana sitting in Joel's backyard looking confused. Apparently, Adriana had expected, at minimum 12 people, and had actually bought supplies accordingly, and she had 36 intention candles, multiple pounds of sage, and hired a professional meditation guide who charged $300 for the first 2 sessions. So, September 2nd's gratitude circle was just Adriana, Joel, and my parents. My mom ran out of things to be grateful for around number 15 and started listing things like your elbows, your ability to digest dairy. My dad fell asleep at his chair. Adriana apparently cried because the energy wasn't aligned, and accused my family of not loving Joel enough. By September the 3rd, Joel was texting me, begging me to come to something, anything to get Adriana to calm down. She was having what he called planned anxiety because people were not RSVPing to her Facebook event. Yep, she made a whole Facebook event for each day. Public, by the way, so his coworkers and random acquaintances could join. She started sending individual texts to family members with all these guilt-trippy messages about how birthdays are sacred celebrations of life and how we were dishonoring Joel's existence by not participating. I agreed to come to a September 5th Wisdom Wednesday workshop, purely to support my brother. It was supposed to be a pottery class where we would make items that, quote, symbolized our hopes for Joel's future. Sounds harmless enough. What I didn't know was that Adriana booked a private session at one of those fancy studios where they usually do bachelorette parties, and it was $150 per person for 3 hours. When I showed up, it was just me, Joel, and Adriana, and my Uncle Grant, who I think only came because he thought it was a normal birthday party. Adriana spent the first 45 minutes explaining the spiritual significance of clay and how we needed to infuse our pieces with intentional energy. The instructor looked like she wanted to crawl into the kiln. Halfway through, while I was trying to make what was supposed to be a bowl but looked more like a defeated pancake, Adriana starts talking about how this was just like the birthday months for her family. You know, what they did growing up. How her siblings would spend weeks planning elaborate celebrations for each other. How it was their way of showing love, and how she could not wait to establish this same tradition in Joel's family. And that's when I said it. Yeah, the thing that apparently ruined everything. Oh, that sounds really special for your family, but just so you know, we've never done birthday months, we barely do a birthday. I appreciate the effort you've put in, but this really isn't our thing. Oh boy. The studio went silent except for the wheel spinning. See, Adriana's face did this thing where it cycled through about 12 different emotions in 3 seconds. Then she said, Joel told me you always do birthday months. He said it was family tradition going back generations. I looked at Joel and he was sitting at his clay spot like it held the secrets to the universe. Dude, what? No, we don't. We forgot your birthday 2 years ago until Mom called us at 9 at night asking if we wanted leftover lasagna. Adriana stood up, her hand still covered the clay, and looked at Joel and said, You said your family did birthday months. You said that's why it was so important to you that I planned this. You said your ex never understood the tradition and that's why things didn't work out. Well, now I knew for a fact that Joel's ex, Megan, broke up with him because he refused to stop playing video games until 4 in the morning, and she needed somebody who had a normal sleep schedule. Nothing to do with a birthday whatsoever, but Joel just sat there not saying anything. She said, You lied to me? I've spent thousands of dollars and hours. I took time off work. I made a PDF, Joel, a PDF. He finally mumbled something about how he thought maybe we could start a new tradition. How he's been so excited when she's thinking about this. She thought we already did birthday months, though. How he didn't want to disappoint her. Basically admitted that he made up this whole elaborate lie, rather than just telling his girlfriend we're not birthday month people. So Adriana, she walks out, just left, still covered in clay, and got in her car and drove away. The instructor asked if we still wanted to finish our pieces, and Grant had already left during the confrontation. Probably the smartest person there. Joel looked at me and said, Why couldn't you just play along? I lost it, not screaming, but definitely not calm. I told him he was insane for lying about something so stupid. For letting his girlfriend spend thousands of dollars she didn't have. Oh yeah, it turns out she'd also put deposits on her credit cards, not just his. For making our entire family feel guilty about not participating in some fiction that he created because he could not have one honest conversation. He said I didn't understand. Adriana's love language was elaborate gestures, and that she's been so hurt when her ex called her too much, and he wanted to be the guy who appreciated her actual energy. I said there was a difference between appreciating someone and enabling them to financial ruin. You know, over a lie. He said I was jealous because nobody would ever care enough about me to plan a birthday month. I said at least I'd never be pathetic enough to lie about having traditions just to avoid basic communication. We haven't talked since. Adriana's been calling and texting everyone in the family, alternating between apologizing for misunderstanding our family culture and raging about being deceived and humiliated. She'd apparently would be thinking I knew about Joel's lies the whole time and purposely exposed it to break them up. She's told anyone who will listen that I've been sabotaging their relationship from the start because I'm threatened by a woman who, quote, actually invests in making life special. My mother is furious with me for stirring up the pot and says I should have just gone along with it since Adriana had already spent the money. She keeps saying, what would it have cost me to just pretend? My dad thinks the whole thing is ridiculous, but also thinks I should apologize to keep the peace. Vanessa says I did the right thing, but could have just handled it better. Maybe pulled Joel aside privately instead of exposing him in front of his girlfriend. The thing is, I didn't mean to expose anyone. I genuinely thought there was just a misunderstanding. How was I supposed to know my brother had invented an entire fictional family tradition? Who does that? And why is it my fault that this lie has collapsed on him? But here's where I might actually be considered the a-hole. Well, yeah, let's talk about that. I haven't apologized. Not to Joel, not to Adriana, not to my parents. Part of me feels like I'm the only sane person in this situation, but literally everyone except my sister thinks I'm at least partially to blame for how things went down. They keep saying variations of, you didn't have to be so blunt, you could have been more tactful. Was being right worth destroying your brother's relationship? Guys, the relationship part is what's making me so bad. I mean, yeah, they broke up. Adriana sent Joel a series of voice messages that he played for me. Back when he was still trying to get me to apologize, where she went on for 20 minutes about trust and foundation, and how she could never be with someone who would let her humiliate herself like that. She mentioned the PDF multiple times, like at least 7 references to it specifically, how she'd sent it to her friends and coworkers, how she posted about it on the Instagram story, and how she'd already started a blog about creating meaningful birthday traditions in your relationship that now made her look psychotic and delusional. Joel is devastated. He keeps saying that she was the one and that I ruined his chance at happiness. He said no one else has ever been that enthusiastic about him, that she made him feel special even if her methods were unconventional. He actually used the word unconventional, like planning 31 days of activities including past life regression is just quirky and not completely unhinged. My mother has been sending me daily text messages about how Joel is not eating, isn't going to work, and he used all of his PTO for a birthday month that's not happening, and is just playing video games in his apartment. She said he hasn't showered in 4 days, and she's worried that he's falling into depression. Every text ends with some variation of "I hope you're happy" or "Was the truth worth your brother's mental health?" But here's the thing. I keep thinking about those credit card charges. Between the two of them, they would run up almost $8,000 in birthday-related debt. For what? For a life? The meditation center refused to refund the retreat deposit? The numerologist had a no-cancel policy? The pyrotechnic company is threatening to sue for breach of contract, and Joel's looking at bankruptcy over a birthday month that was never real. Guys, Grant texted me yesterday, the only family member still talking to me normally, and said Adriana had called him crying, asking if the family would consider modified birthday months going forward, like maybe just birthday week. She apparently convinced that if she can just find the right duration of celebration, everything will be hunky-dory. He thinks that she might be having some kind of mental breakdown, so I guess what I'm asking is, am I the a-hole for accidentally exposing my brother's lies about us having a birthday month tradition? Should I have just played along when I realized what was going on? Was being honest worth all of this chaos? Everyone keeps acting like I deliberately sabotaged them, but I genuinely thought that I was just clarifying a misunderstanding. Now my brother's relationship is over, he's in massive debt, and his girlfriend is possibly having a mental health crisis, and my family thinks I'm responsible for it all. The worst part is, September 8th is in 2 days, And now instead of even a normal birthday dinner, Joel will be alone in his apartment because the family is too fractured to get together. My mom suggested we still do something small, but Joel said that he never wants to celebrate his birthday again, so I guess I ruined that too. Actually, wait, I need to tell you what happened yesterday before I end this, because it somehow has gotten a lot worse. My cousin Miles, who had not been involved in any of this drama, decides to play peacemaker. He's one of those guys who thinks every problem can be solved with communication and seeing each other's perspectives. He organized what he called a healing circle at his apartment, didn't tell anyone else who was coming. I show up thinking I was just going to be me and him having a beer. Maybe him giving me some advice about the situation, but no. I walk in and there's Joel, Adriana, who they're apparently, broke up, but they're still here anyways. My parents, Vanessa, who's on FaceTime from Portland, and for some reason Adriana's spiritual advisor? This woman's name is Moonbean. Yeah, Moonbean. Legal name, she showed us her driver's license, who's apparently been guiding Adriana through this betrayal. Miles had set up chairs in a circle with the candle in the middle. He made us all sit down and said that we were not leaving until we cleared the energy in the room. Adriana had brought printed worksheets about processing relationship trauma that she wanted us all to fill out. Question number 1 was, how has this situation triggered your inner child's wound of abandonment? I crap you not. Joel would not look at me. He just kept staring at this spot on Miles' wall where there was a small water stain, like that was the most fascinating thing he's ever seen. My mother was already crying, and we had not even started talking yet. My dad was checking football scores on his phone until Moonbeam asked him to, quote, respect the sacred space by putting it away. So, Moonbeam started the session by having us all state our emotional truth. So, Adriana went first, of course. She talked for 23 minutes. Miles was timing it because he said everyone got 5 minutes but did not want to interrupt her. About how this experience had, quote, shattered her understanding of authentic love. And how she had to rebuild her entire conceptual framework of trust. She used the word PDF 11 times, and she also revealed that she's already scheduled therapy specifically for the related trauma of it, which is not a thing that should exist. When it was Joel's turn, he just said, my brother should not have had everything ruined, and then went back to staring at the water stain. A real helpful contribution, bro. My mom's emotional truth was that she just wanted her boys to get along, and why couldn't we be like the Hendersons down the street whose kids never fight? Guys, the Hendersons' kids are 4 and 6 years old. My dad said his emotional truth was that he missed when birthdays were just birthdays, and asked if anybody else remembered when cake and ice cream used to be enough. Well, Moonbeam told him that he was deflecting from deeper truth and he needed to sit with his discomfort. My father, who had served 2 tours in Iraq, looked like he wanted to tell Moonbeam exactly where she could sit with her discomfort, but he just nodded. When it got to me, I said my emotional truth was that I thought everybody was insane for acting like I committed some massive betrayal when all I did was state a fact about our family not having birthday month traditions. That's when Moonbeam interrupted to say that facts are just one version of reality and that I needed to honor Adriana's lived experience of feeling birthday months were real. I asked someone, how someone could have lived an experience of something that simply did not exist. Moonbeam said existence was subjective. I said debt collectors don't care about the subjective existence when you owe them $8,000 for a fictional birthday month. And that's when Adriana starts sobbing about the PDF again. Vanessa, still on FaceTime, was clearly drinking wine and trying not to laugh. At one point, she muted herself, but I could see her shoulders shaking. She texted me, "Is this real life?" And I wanted to respond, but Moonbeam was watching me like a hawk. Then Miles brought out what he called the talking stick, which was just a regular stick that he found in his yard and painted it purple. For some reason we don't know. Only the person holding the stick could talk. He passed it to Adriana first, obviously, and she used her time to read them her journal about all her birthday month activities that she planned and how each one was very, very special. Did you know that the sunset paddleboard yoga session on September the 17th was meant to symbolize Joel floating between his past and future self? Or the group colonic appointment on September 23rd, yeah, she booked that, was about releasing generational trauma as a family unit. She had 17 pages of this, guys. And when Joel finally got the stick, he said something that made everything worse. He admitted that he'd actually told Adriana our family had birthday months because his ex Megan had made fun of him for getting excited about his birthday. Apparently last year he'd mentioned wanting to do something special for turning 30, and Megan said, "You're a grown man. Birthdays are for children." So when he met Adriana and she asked about family birthday traditions, he made up this elaborate lie to test if she would accept him being enthusiastic about life. The room went silent. Even Moonbeam did not have some mystical wisdom for it. My mom finally said, "So, you created this entire situation because Megan hurt your feelings," and Joel nodded and starts to cry. Yeah, actual tears. My 31-year-old brother was crying about his ex-girlfriend, who he dated for 6 months, 2 years ago. That's when Adriana had what I can only describe as a revelation. She stands up without having the talking stick, and Moonbeam gasped about the breach of protocol and announced that she was actually beautiful. This is all beautiful, that Joel had manifested her into his life to heal his birthday-related trauma, and that the universe had brought them together so she could show him what radical birthday acceptance looks like. Guys, on the spot, they get back together, right there in Miles' living room, with the purple stick between them and Moonbeam crying about love winning. They decided to give it another go. But here's the part Adriana says they need to start fresh with. A new birthday tradition. She's now planning a birthday quarter. Guys, that's 3 months, by the way, of celebration to make up for the tainted energy of the failed birthday month. You can't make this up. October, November, and December are apparently going to be Joel's session of rebirth. She's already having a PowerPoint, not a PDF this time. A full PowerPoint, animations embedded with videos. She showed us the preview and there's a slide of star wipes. Guys, what is a star wipe? My parents, desperate for family harmony, immediately agreed to participate. My dad's face looked like he was agreeing to dental surgery, but he said, okay. My mom offered to host the season opening ceremony on October 1st. Vanessa hung up the FaceTime call and texted me, "I'm never coming home for the holidays again." But wait, there's more. Because Adriana felt like I still needed to make amends for my violence. Her words from me stating facts was she has a special request. She wants me to write a speech for Joel's actual birthday on September the 8th, which is tomorrow, about why I was wrong to deny their truth and how I've learned to embrace abundance. I said absolutely not. And that's when Joel stood up. For real this time. Not just crying or staring at walls. He said if I don't give a speech, he's uninviting me from his wedding. I laughed because, what wedding? They just got back together 5 minutes ago. But apparently Adriana had already planned their entire wedding to the T. As part of the original birthday month, September 30th was supposed to be the commitment ceremony that would seal the birthday month with eternal love. They're crazy. They're still doing it. The deposits are non-refundable anywho, so they figured why not? My mother is now texting me every hour with speech ideas. She sent me a template she found online for an apology speech, and my dad called me privately and said, "You know what? I'm gonna slip you $500 if I just give a quick speech to make this all just go away." Miles thinks the whole healing circle was a huge success and wants to make it a monthly tradition. I'm done with this family. Moonbeam, because of course, gave me her business card in case I want to work on my resistance to joy. So now I'm supposed to stand up at dinner tomorrow, in front of my entire family, plus Adriana's parents, who are flying in, by the way, having been told this is a real wedding-related event, and apologize for saying we don't have a birthday month tradition. A tradition that did not exist until 3 weeks ago when my brother made it up to impress a woman who schedules group colonic for fun. The thing is, I'm starting to wonder if I'm actually the crazy one. Everyone else seems to have just accepted this new reality where we're having a birthday month. Maybe I should just give in. But also, the idea of standing up and apologizing for being right makes me want to move to another state. Well, Grant just texted me. He's not coming to dinner tomorrow, says he's developed a sudden allergy to bullcrap and will be watching the game at home. At least someone else sees how insane this is. But my question remains for you beautiful people. Am I the a-hole for exposing the lies in the first place? Should I have just pretended that we had this tradition, and now am I the a-hole for refusing to give this speech? Everyone's acting like I'm the villain in this, for not playing along with this elaborate fiction that's somehow now becoming our reality. Well, the wedding that's not a wedding is in 3 weeks. I'm supposed to be a groomsman. Adriana already has ordered matching purple suits because purple is Joel's birth color. Oh, according to the numerologist, the suits cost $400 each, non-refundable, of course. I'm so tired. Guys, am I the a-hole for just cutting this family off?